The invitation to interview arrived in a padded envelope smelling faintly of energy drinks and regret. Thrumble Merriweather, a gentle Yeti of the upper Yodelhorn range, brushed the ice crystals from his beard and unfolded the single sheet inside. Dear Mr. Merriweather, it read in blocky gold lettering, on the recommendation of the Himalayan Association of Alternative Care Providers, we are pleased to offer you a temporary custodial engagement with the chart-topping rock ensemble Feedback Frenzy. Duties, supervision, conflict de-escalation, and general damage limitation during their 8-city tour. Compensation, 12 crates of ethically sourced marshmallows, a lifetime subscription to Flannel Monthly, and hazard pay. Thrumble, who loved marshmallows almost as much as he loved peace and quiet, took precisely 4 contemplative sips of pine needle tea before accepting. After all, how rambunctious could 4 humans with guitars really be? The answer arrived the moment he creaked open the backstage door at the Frostbite Arena, first stop on the tour. A flying drumstick whistled past his ear and embedded itself in a speaker like a toothpick in an hors d'oeuvre. Smoke billowed from amplifiers stacked so high they appeared to be reenacting the Tower of Babel in heavy metal form. In the center of the chaos, the members of Feedback Frenzy hurled both curses and snacks at one another, while a terrified intern waved a clipboard in surrender. Band manager Slick Nick, whose wardrobe consisted exclusively of sunglasses and stress dashed over, relief spreading across his stubbled face. "Thrumble, baby, you made it," he shouted, as though competing with a passing jet engine. "Your references say you once coaxed a rabid snow leopard into mindfulness meditation. Do that, but with them." The Yeti offered a polite nod and stooped to enter the dressing room. He immediately had to dodge a second drumstick and an airborne jar of glitter. "Who's the albino Chewbacca?" snarled lead guitarist Razor Rick, flicking neon green hair from his eyes. "Chewbacca is Wookiee," Thrumble corrected gently, examining the glitter jar lodged in the wall. "I'm a Yeti, entirely different kingdom, phylum, and grooming routine." Bassist Luna Doom squinted. "Management hired a cryptid nanny? What are we, toddlers?" "Only when you miss nap time," Thrumble replied with a soft smile. Behind him, drummer Blitz exploded out of his seat. "No one tells me to nap," he bellowed, punctuating the sentence with a cymbal crash using a turkey leg instead of a stick. Thrumble exhaled a snow-scented sigh. It was going to be a long tour. Night 1. The Van Slick Nick herded the band toward the tour van as though steering caffeinated lemmings. Thrumble folded himself into the back row, knees under chin like a shaggy accordion. The moment the ignition turned, Blitz produced drum pads from nowhere and began pounding out a 17/8 rhythm on the seat backs. Razor Rick joined with an unplugged electric guitar, achieving decibel levels normally associated with rocket launches. Vocalist Scorch Siren, warming up for the show, practiced banshee shrieks that made nearby pine trees shed needles in alarm. The Yeti rummaged in his knapsack, produced 4 pairs of plush, pastel-colored earmuffs, and passed them forward. "What the frost are these?" Luna Doom asked. "Quiet clouds," Thrumble said, "for any ears that might enjoy surviving until soundcheck." Miraculously, curiosity trumped defiance. One by one, the musicians slipped on the earmuffs. The van vibrated with muted but still furious rhythms, yet the overall volume sank from plate tectonics to spirited washing machine. Thrumble offered them marshmallows the size of billiard balls. The sugar rush hit faster than Jack Frost on espresso, but at least the energy was chewy, not explosive. Arena 1 pre-show pandemonium upon arrival, the band insisted on a ritual they called ampliformation, which involved stacking all the venue speakers in a circle, stepping inside, and shouting their hopes for the gig at wattage sufficient to steam milk. Thrumble watched, arms folded like a concerned yet fluffy penguin. When they finished, the stage manager emerged from hiding beneath a flight case and begged the Yeti to keep them from performing soundcheck at 11 on the Richter scale. Thrumble approached the band and spoke in a tone rarely heard outside bedtime stories and guided glacier tours. "Friends," he said, "your fans adore power, but they also appreciate a coherent skeletal structure. Let us set the speakers to bone-friendly. Bone-friendly is for polka bands, Razor Rick protested. Then consider it an experimental genre, Thrumble replied, tweaking a knob labeled Doom from maximum to merely threatening. Miracle of miracles, they went along. The sound check rattled only half the chandeliers, a venue record for restraint, post-show bedtime limitations. The concert itself melted faces, eyebrows, and at least one nacho platter. Afterward, adrenaline-boggled bandmates refused to sleep, opting instead to slide down banisters on guitar cases. Thrumple tried reasoning. They countered with stage diving off minibar fridges. Finally, the Yeti sat cross-legged in the corridor, pulled out a snow globe containing a serene mountain, and began humming a lullaby in subsonic frequencies. The vibration traveled through the floor like an inverted thunderstorm. One by one, musicians nodded off mid-hijink. Blitz curled beneath a drum rug. Luna Doom fell asleep while sketching new tattoo ideas on the wall. Razor Rick passed out, hugging a distortion pedal like a teddy bear. Scorched Siren slumped against a vending machine, mouth open, snoring at the same pitch as her highest scream. Slick Nick tiptoed over. You sedated them with vibes? Close, said Thrumble, scooping up the snoring humans and depositing them gently into bunk beds. Resonant kindness. City 2, the hotel pool incident in Melted Marshmallow Springs, named, ironically, for its geothermal pools. Feedback Frenzy discovered room service menus listing all-night spicy ramen. 3 bowls in, Blitz became convinced he could play drums faster underwater. At 3:00 a.m., he attempted a cannonball into the hotel pool, dragging a floor tom. Thrumble intervened mid-sprint, plucking Blitz from the tiled edge. Like a father removing a bird bath. They play percussion on land, he whispered. Water dilutes the groove. But underwater solos would be revolutionary, Blitz argued, noodles clinging to his bangs. Thrumble pointed out the sign that read no subquatic drumming, a rule apparently foresighted by management. Instead, he organized an impromptu poolside rhythm workshop using plastic buckets and chopsticks. Guests in bathrobes formed a semicircle, delighted. Blitz channeled his mania into a performance that ended with everyone chanting, "More bucket! More bucket!" Hotel security, charmed despite themselves, arranged a late checkout instead of pressing charges. Backstage, bargaining by City 4, Thrumble had identified each band member's trigger points. Razor Rick, strings must be changed clockwise only or he'd boycott gravity. Luna Doom requires mood lighting no harsher than lavender. Scorched Siren needs lemon ginger tea steeped exactly 6 minutes, else her voice defaults to dolphin frequencies. Blitz can't count past 4 when excited. Any set list longer than that induced existential dread. Thrumble addressed these with the diligence of a sommelier pairing wines. He kept a portable lava lamp for Luna, a tea timer for Scorch, and flashcards reading 1, 2, 3, 4 for Blitz. Razor Rick reluctantly allowed clockwise stringing because the Yeti explained counterclockwise could summon mountain spirits with unpaid royalties. The band still threw tantrums, but the explosions became firecrackers instead of dynamite. Slick Nick started sleeping more than 20 minutes at a time, a luxury he mistook for déjà vu. The great guitar store heist, almost. In Shiver City, Razor Rick got wind of a boutique selling a rare 13-strung electric guitar, rumored to reach sonic frequencies that could caramelize sugar. He announced plans to liberate the instrument that night, interpreting Open 24 Hours as open to my personal sense of entitlement. Thrumble, perceiving larceny in the air, proposed a detour. He guided the band to the local children's hospital, where fans had organized a meet and greet. Initially skeptical, the musicians found themselves signing casts and trading high fives with kids wearing miniature earplugs and Feedback Frenzy t-shirts. Razor Rick played a gentle lullaby on a borrowed ukulele for a girl named Miri, whose IV pole sported stickers of skulls and daisies. Miri giggled and told him, "You're better quiet." Rick laughed so hard he forgot the 13-string entirely. When the hospital staff presented the band with hand-drawn thank you cards, Thrumble caught something new in their eyes. Humility mingled with the everlasting gleam of mischief. Wardrobe catastrophe or sequence of Doom City 6? 6's venue enforced a strict no open flames policy after last year's pyrotechnic fiasco by a circus goth opera. Feedback Frenzy lamented the ban on their lava-spewing guitar solo finale. In revolt, Luna Dune ordered emergency stage outfits sewn with thousands of reflective sequins to blind the audience into submission. Unfortunately, the outfits arrived 2 sizes too small. The band squeezed in, but each movement threatened to ping sequins into the atmosphere at bullet speed. Thrumble suggested a choreographed minimal motion performance art piece. Blitz, ever one for kinetics, revolted by practicing windmill arms and peppering the green room with shrapnel sequins. Inspiration struck the Yeti. He produced rolls of medical tape, normally reserved for gaffer emergencies, and turned the fiasco into an interactive spectacle. Fans entering the venue were given souvenir earplugs and invited to place one strip of tape onto a massive poster labeled "Patch the Band." During the finale, the group stood still while the audience, roaring with delight, pelted them with tape strips from the balcony. The patchwork outfits held, no pupils were lost to flying sequins, and reviewers hailed it as a bold statement on the adhesive nature of rock. The bus breakdown and the snowstorm on. The road to City 7, the tour bus's engine coughed its last note in the middle of Albino Pass just as a blizzard rolled in. Slick Nick panicked, convinced tabloids would headline "Rock Stars Freeze," "Miss Sound Check, World Ends." Trumbull examined the engine, then the sky, then the trembling musicians, and declared, "We build a snow sled." Within minutes, he sculpted snow into aerodynamic curves, lashed gear cases together with spare guitar strings, and rigged the sled to a harness made of scarves. "I'll pull," he said, ignoring Slick Nick's protests about insurance premiums. The band, teeth chattering more rhythmically than Blitz ever had, clambered atop the gear. Trumbull lumbered through the blizzard, glowing faintly in the swirling white like a mythic St. Bernard. During the 3-hour trek, an impromptu acoustic set broke out. Razor Rick, unable to stay idle, strummed a travel guitar while Luna Doom harmonized with the wind. Blitz kept time by clacking cymbal felts like castanets, and Scorch Siren's warm vocals thawed the mood. Somewhere between snowdrifts, they wrote Tundra Lullaby, a haunting ballad about finding harmony in the icy unknown. Upon arrival, frostbitten but inspired, they demanded Thrumble receive co-writing credit. The Yeti politely declined but accepted extra marshmallows. The penultimate gig, Silence as a Weapon, by the Seventh City, word of Feedback Frenzy's evolving stagecraft spread. The critics noted a mellow menace and unexpected nuance. Ticket sales soared, curiosity thrummed. To cap the gossip, Thrumble suggested an avant-garde experiment. Begin the show with a full minute of absolute silence. "Silence?" Scorch Siren gasped. "Our fans will riot." "Or listen," Thrumble countered. "Power can hide in quiet." The band debated, flipped coins, arm wrestled, and finally agreed, mostly because Luna wanted to see if she could meditate on stage without someone lighting something on fire. The night arrived, lights dimmed, the band walked out, instruments ready, and then nothing. The crowd roared, expecting chaos. Instead, 4 rockers and 1 backstage Yeti simply breathed. An odd hush swept the arena. The audience, confused, lowered their phones. In that collective stillness, heartbeats became percussion. Exactly 60 seconds later, Blitz exploded into the opening drum fill, and the music hit harder than an avalanche. Fans went berserk, some swearing they'd felt the earth stop spinning for a beat. The review headlines the next morning. Yeti approved pause melts faces again. Final stop. The homecoming concert. The last city was Rumbleopolis, the band's hometown and site of their original garage, now a gourmet donut shop with too much nostalgia frosting. Slick Nick booked the gargantuan Echo Dome, a venue rumored to have eaten smaller acts alive. The mayor proclaimed it Feedback Frenzy Day, though he admitted privately he preferred smooth jazz. Backstage, nerves buzzed like poorly grounded amps. The hometown crowd included childhood friends, ex-teachers, and at least 3 people each member had once accidentally set on fire during early pyrotechnic experiments. Expectations weighed heavier than Blitz's snare case. Thrumble gathered the band in a circle. "Tonight," he said, "remember the hospital smiles, the blizzard songs, the hush that spoke louder than thunder. Play for those moments." Blitz sniffled. Is the big snow guy making me sentimental? Probably, Razor Rick muttered, wiping away what he claimed was stage fog from his eyes. Slick Nick burst in waving a clipboard. Catastrophe. The pyrotechnics crew is snowed in 2 towns over. No flames, no sparks, no confetti cannons. What do we do? All eyes turned to Thrumble. The Yeti shrugged. We have ourselves, he said, and if necessary, marshmallows. Showtime! The stage lights rose on 4 musicians wearing patch sequin outfits, lavender mood lighting, lemon ginger steam curling at their feet. In place of flames, the arena crew projected slow-motion footage of a crackling fireplace across every screen. The opening number roared. The audience roared louder. Mid-set, they unveiled Tundra Lullaby, played in near darkness except for spotlights on each musician and a single moon-white beam on Thrumble, seated cross-legged at side stage, gently shaking a snow globe. When the final chorus soared, thousands of fans held up phone flashlights, swirling them like falling snow. The effect was mesmerizing. Reviewers later called it Northern Lights with better bass. Encore, a Yeti on lead vocals. Chants of Yeti rose from the crowd. Embarrassed, Thrumble waved both hands. Scorch Siren yanked him on stage. He taught us about dynamics, she announced. He carried us through a blizzard. He deserves the mic. The Yeti's eyes widened. Public singing was not on his resume. Yet, 40,000 fans awaited. He cleared his throat, which sounded like rolling boulders wrapped in velvet, and began a slow, rumbling baritone rendition of Somewhere Over the Rain. The band joined softly, layering delicate guitar harmonics, brush snare, and haunting bass lines beneath the primordial voice. People wept, security guards hugged, even Slick Nick removed his sunglasses to blot tears, revealing eyes the color of exhausted hope. As the final note faded, silence returned, warm, glowing, immense. Then, an eruption of applause that rattled the Echo Dome's rafters and allegedly cracked 3 parking lot windshields. Epilogue. Peace, quiet, and platinum feedback. Frenzy's tour ended not with a bang, but with a blissful hush. Tundra Lullaby, top charts worldwide, hailed as the softest hard rock ballad ever. The band credited their resident Zen master Snow Beast in every interview. Cranky talk show hosts tried to provoke scandalous stories, but the most salacious anecdote involved a marshmallow roast so wholesome it cured a studio audience's cynicism for 30 seconds. Slick Nick offered Thrumble a permanent position. The Yeti considered, then declined. His mountains missed him, and marshmallow crates already filled half his cave. Still, he promised to visit for annual quiet retreats, disguised as recording sessions. On the final morning, the band and manager gathered to say farewell. Luna Doom presented Thrumble with a custom flannel scarf stitched with tiny embroidered guitars. Razor Rick handed over the 13-strong electric gifted, not stolen, its body signed by kids from the hospital. Blitz tried to give him his favorite drum throne, but it wouldn't fit in the van, so he settled for decorating it with a sticky note. Property of Thrumble, King of Chill. Scorch Siren, voice soft, asked, Any parting wisdom? Thrumble thought of roaring crowds calmed by earmuffs, tantrums tamed by tape, blizzards conquered by song. He patted each head with a paw like a snow cushion. Remember, he said, even avalanches start with one quiet snowflake. Be the flake. They laughed loudly, hugged even louder, and watched as the gentle Yeti lumbered toward the horizon, flannel scarf fluttering in the breeze, guitar slung across his shoulder like a lullaby waiting to be played. Later, when reporters asked how Feedback Frenzy had transformed from riot starters to masters of controlled chaos, Razor Rick flashed a grin sharp as icicles and replied, Simple, mate. We hired a babysitter who made silence louder than our guitars. Changed everything. And in the snowy stillness of the upper Jodelhorn range, Thrumble Merriweather brewed pine needle tea, tuned a 13-string electric, and hummed. Satisfied that somewhere out there, bone-friendly decibels reign supreme.